It's a goal! Can you believe it? It's extraordinary!
Super disappointing. I mean, we've clearly let ourselves down. We let our fans and supporters down, and it's not acceptable. We came here, as you say, with so much to play for. We weren't able to elevate to the level required, so we've got some searching to do, in terms of looking at all components of our program. Obviously the season is now out, in terms of where we finish is out of our control.
66-point loss, biggest loss for the Crows ever at the Adelaide Oval. They started the weekend in 9th, lost by 11 goals, and right now sit 8th. It's weird, but that's what's happening. There's no certainty to stay in the 8.
No, they're not home, and it was an interesting game leading into it. Obviously, top 4 on the line for Collingwood, and top 8 in a finals berth for the Crows. Interesting game to start. It was a tight affair. Both teams were in it. Collingwood were defending really well. Their ball use probably letting them down early in the game, particularly in that first quarter, but it was the Pie Smalls forwards that got them going to lead by 17 at the long break. The third term saw Collingwood really turn up their heat. They got it on top around tackles, contested ball, 6 goals to 1 in that quarter. They finished off the game really strongly, carrying what will be good form going into a finals campaign. Taylor Adams hitting the scoreboard late with a nice goal, but really impressive performance by the Pies. 3 things that I learnt. 1, it takes more than 2 rucks to stop Brodie Grundy. They tried to double team him, didn't work with the big Pie having a day out. Point 2, the Crows were strangled. No goals in the opening term, only 6 for the game. The defence of Collingwood was elite. And the third thing, Jamie Alla is the X factor for the Pies. He had a huge, huge day. Just 12 scoring involvements. It's not only what he does in terms of kicking goals and converting, but he brings other guys into the game. He's an elite player, both in the air and on ground level, clever around goals, as I mentioned, but he gives the Pies a dynamic look going inside forward 50.
He's missed so much footy, you sometimes forget how brilliant he is at his best.
Particularly a couple of years ago,
yeah.
he is the elite small forward in the competition when he's up and going.
The Pies forward line has just looked like an entirely different proposition, and it's, I guess, been, I don't want to say a blessing in disguise because it's a little bit harsh, but with Mason Cox going out, they're just so much more unpredictable now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and it gives just different looks going in side forward 50. You've spoken about Roughhead going forward, potentially that changes going into finals, but Elliott, Stevenson hopefully will come back in. Mychek plays a huge role. I think Travis Varco the last couple of weeks has given him a new look as well, so they're versatile inside forward 50.
Darcy Moore's maybe in this week, hopefully does before the bye. That gives them some optionality.
Yeah, well, I think that's just what it does. I'm not sure how it'll play out in terms of where he plays, but it gives him flexibility down back and also up forward with having another key.
Yep.
Jimmy, there was a moment in this game with Jeremy Howe, and we'll take a look at that now. What are your thoughts on this? Because it cost the Crows a goal.
Yeah, well, I seem to get all the free kick ones on this show, but look, when you look at something from an angle like that, which an umpire's never going to have, you think, oh, geez, the Crows are stiff, but where the umpire actually was, it would have been difficult not to see Jeremy Howe coming forward through the contest. So it's such a difficult game to umpire. I don't know whether it cost them the game or anything like that, but it's so hard to umpire. Like, it's not the umpire.
You won't get fined for that, will you?
I can't see how.
No.
How? Yeah.
Clever. The ball movement from the Crows watching it. Who are the quickest ball movers teams-wise right now, Hugo?
Essendon. Essendon are right up there. Jimmy mentioned Brisbane as well. Port Adelaide when they're up and going.
It's slow at the moment, the Crows, and they just don't seem to have the confidence to go.
No, I thought they'd probably turn the corner last week. Even though they lost against the Eagles, what I saw from their ball movement was a lot taking the game forward. Their midfielders get a lot of numbers. Obviously, the 2 Crouch boys drive that. But when they go backwards and sideways, it allows the opposition to set up really well for what is a powerful and talented forward line. So they get a lot of numbers back. But when they play with speed, you think when they played against the Eagles over there, Fogarty was able to get out in space, Tex was able to move around, Lynch becomes that hit up. So as much as they can, if they can take the game forward with their handball instead of sidewards and backwards, it makes them a much better looking side. Yeah.
In the lead up to this game, Eddie Betts was such a massive talking point, all about his future. He came out because he's contracted next year and said, I'm staying, I'll be at the Crows in 2020. He kicked his 600th goal last night, which is quite incredible. He's such an amazing player and has been for a very long time. But there was talk that he couldn't kick a goal from 45 metres, and Jason Dunstall actually said that if you can't kick 45 metres, then you shouldn't be playing AFL
I think
football.
Rue mentioned it. Mark
Yeah.
Rashuda said he struggles now past 45. Is that? And Chief said, well, if he can't, he shouldn't be playing. How long's he not been able to kick 45 for, though?
Yeah, I've seen Eddie Betts in those circumstances before, handball off. I think he knows his game really well. I've played with a few guys that couldn't kick at 45 and turned out to be pretty good
You
players.
can still be crafty enough to be hugely valuable, can't you, Jimmy, or not?
Yeah, but also that's Brodie Smith running past too. So I think nearly it's almost a team rule for the Crows. Whenever he's nearby, get the ball in his hands. The mark was 45, so he's probably had to clear it 50 if there's ruckman on the line. So if you see Brodie Smith, he's probably thinking, well, he'll definitely get the distance.
You're the list manager at the Crows, Jimmy.
Jeez.
Big job.
Eddie's 32, Richie Douglas 32, Jacobs 31, Mackay 31, Jenkins 30, Gibbs 30, Otten 30, Sloan, who's locked in for a while, Walker 29, Lynch 28. So I think 8 of those played last night.
Yep.
When you're rebuilding, reshaping, is age the primary concern or not at all?
No, you still take talent first,
Yep.
and they're locked into a lot of those contracts
Yep.
so as well. So that can affect what you do anyway. So for some of those, yeah, they might be moved on to other clubs, but it's all your balance. You want a mix of 30, 25, 20-year-olds as well. And only the Crows will know whether that's the talent to take them forward next year. Look, they're still fighting for the finals, and these are still very good players where if they were on the open market, a lot of them, I think a lot of clubs would snap them up. Age is only a problem if you lose, and as soon as they lose, we go to how old they are. But when we win, we tip their cap for the experience.
4 rising stars since 2015 for the Crows, which is equal lowest, which is a sort of indication of how top end their youth is. Anyway, a job that they'll have a look at, no doubt, in the off season if they play finals. It'll be post finals.